Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, in deck number 843, we're going to talk about tribal frogs. Yeah, I can guarantee you my daughter's not watching this. So for 4 mana, we get a 3/3 Grolnok, the Omnivore. It's a 3/3 frog. Whenever a frog you control attacks, you mill 3 cards. Whenever a permanent is put into your graveyard from your library, exile it with a croak counter on it. You may play lands and cast spells from among cards you own and exile with croak counters on them. So this just gives us access to more cards to cast in a different kind of way, from milling ourselves. And it will only be permanents, So our instants and sorceries and, stuff like that will just chill in the graveyard. So, believe it or not, there are quite a few frogs. But before we get into that, let's do our usual thing of our mana fixing. We have Soul Ring, our only 2 spells, the Cultivate and the Rampant Growth, and then we go straight to the artifacts again. Simic Signet. Liquid Metal Torque may matter. One of the frogs counts artifacts, so Commander Sphere, Simic Bluestone, Locket, and the Honored Heirloom. So, some card draw, the routine. Growth Spiral, Eureka Moment, and Urban Evolution. Now, frog stuff. The very first frog we thought about was, we all did, the Spore Frog. It's just a good card. We have Haze Frog. Enters the battlefield, prevent all combat damage to other creatures, so it has flash. It's a 2/1 with a fog on it. Species Gorger. Return a creature you control to his hand. Galloping Lizrock. Now, a lot of these, I'll be honest with you, we're probably going to fly through the creatures here because they're frogs. None of them are strategically important. It's just they are blue and green frog creature types. Some of them do help the cause. Some of them do let us mill. Anarids, all the old Anarids have been retconned to frogs now. So the Bark Ripper, Scavenger, Swarm Snapper, things like that. Bloated Toad. Leapfrog, Plax Caster. I don't know how much 1/1 counters we're gonna have. But this is deck number 843, and this is the first use of Chub Toad. This is the first time when I listed down on Archidect. This is the first time I have ever listed a deck with Chub Toad in it. Probably for good reason, but I don't know. Achievement unlocked, I guess. Frogmite, there's our artifact frog. Omnibian. Target creature, you make a creature a frog, right? Trollbred. And then I cheated a little bit. I'm using like 3 changelings, the Moth Dusk, Titan, and the Game Trail. But our good friend of the channel, Mr. Chris, come by while I was working on this deck the first time, and in addition to frogs in the deck, we need frog cards, like the Frog Tongue. Can block creatures with flying, but it's got frog in the name. Kasmina's Transmutation. It's just a frog. Right there, front and center. The Mercurial Transformation. It's got the little frog in the cage. Of course, Turn to Frog and Frogify. I can't believe I didn't think of this. He suggested it. Jump. Frogs jump, right? I couldn't, yeah. So, y'all know I'm always looking for a reason to run jumps. And then, Incongruity here makes a creature a frog. So, tribal things. I'm fighting the urge to make this, to just buy a bunch of cards for this deck, but that's not conducive to the goal overall, is to really, really make this deck shine, But Reflections of Lejara, frogs are buy one, get one free. That's pretty neat. Of course, the Overrun's a great card. So is Invert the Skies. You play both blue and green, and nobody can block your stuff. Yeah, your team becomes unblockable. Gaia's Blessing. We are going to be milling, and I'm sure that there's a whole nother deck there that's not Tribal Frogs that focuses on around, I guess it would be Frogs, but milling your library out or what have you. This is not that deck. But the Gaia's Blessing, if it goes to the, if it gets milled, then it'll bring back all of those other instant sorceries. So, Relearn will get you back one sorcery. Favor of the Overbeam, just to give our commander +2/+2 vigilance and flying. Power of Heroes. Yeah, go up the chain a little bit. Quasi-duplicate. Copy a frog. And then the Biomass Mutation, just because enough mana and frogs become scary. So that brings us to our removal. Negate, of course. Deglamour. I had Deglamour played against me just a few days ago. My fiance played Deglamour, and you know, when somebody destroys something, you think, oh, I can get it back somehow. But when they Deglamour it and just shuffle it into your library, man, it's gone. Return to Nature and Broken Bond. Mana Leak. Decisive Denial. I kind of like both options here. Larry Nevin's Disc to hit that panic button if we need it. The Quandrix Command. And our Beast Within, which is great. It would have been better if it made a frog. And our non-basic lands. Wow, there's a bunch here. Reliquary Tower. Because, you know, it's blue and green, we might get caught having a whole bunch of cards there. Who knows? The Blighted Woodland is going to turn this one land drop into 2 land drops. Woodland Stream, Simic Growth Chamber. Whoop. Simic Guildgate, Thornwood Falls, Lumbering Falls, Quandrix Campus. Now, the Tree of Tales and the Seat of Synod are in there because just of the Frogmite. There's no drawback to them. They don't interplay tapped. Well, I guess there is a drawback if somebody destroys, you know, a Vandal Blast kills them. But it does help out the Frogmite. And I figured it was a small price to pay those two, because there's a good chance I was going to play Tangle Pool anyway, right? The Command Tower, Rogue's Passage, Evolving Wilds, and Terramorphic Expanse. Man, I peeled through that one fast. Tried to explain it the best I could, but it's play frogs, mill yourself, and yeah. Card advantage. Who would have thought that Simic would have card advantage in weird ways? Who guessed, right? That's all that color combination does. 843 is done. On the wall. I appreciate it. We are, 7 days in to our everyday deck, so we'll see how long we can keep this going. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. But we're not going to drag this one out. I don't have anything extra. I do have, 9 decks left, so that's, at least 9 more days. So, yep. I appreciate it. Thank y'all so much, but we're going to go ahead and shuffle and cut.